Anxiety.
Let's pop in.
Welcome back to Potty Mouth.
The show where the jokes are dirty and our minds are dirtier. I'm Aaron, this is Blake.
How you doing?
And today on the podcast we talk about anxiety. Everyone faces it. It's not fun.
Nope.
And we're going to talk about that a little more today. And actually we're not going to plug anything because it's more of a serious topic. It's actually a very serious thing that a lot of people don't really think about, and a lot of people underplay as a really scary thing. For those of you that don't experience anxiety, lucky. I know that I'm guilty of feeling anxiety, and I know that Blake has anxiety, and a lot of it's caused by stress in our lives. And so if you don't mind, I was going to get us started.
By all means.
So, and I haven't told Blake this, so this is kind of catching him off guard, but I was actually recently in the hospital for anxiety. So let's see, it was...
Wait, what?
Yeah, this is first news to him.
For what?
So Friday night. Friday night I went to the emergency room because I couldn't breathe and I felt like I was having a heart attack. And my blood pressure was 150 over 102. And so I went into the hospital, and they were doing all sorts of tests on me. They ran an EKG, they did blood work, chest scans.
Yeah,
everything to make sure that I was okay. And comes back that I had dyspnea, which is shortness of breath, and it was caused by stress-induced anxiety.
Dang, you've been that stressed?
Apparently. I didn't know. I went to Kings Island, and the day after Kings Island, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I couldn't breathe, and I was like coughing. And then 3 days after that, I still felt like short of breath, couldn't catch my breath, couldn't like function.
No kidding.
And so it scared me to the point where I was like, all right, I need to go to the doctor and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And still, even today, I'm still a little weird. Like I still feel like I can't breathe super well. And like I've struggled with anxiety for a long time. And people always ask you, like, they're like, why do you have anxiety? Like, what is the cause of it? And in a lot of cases, people don't really know why. Like they don't really know why it hits them. They don't know how to react because they don't know the cause of it. And so, and that was my case. I don't know what caused it.
Yeah.
I don't know what, because obviously everybody has normal stressors in their everyday life. But I don't know what the one thing was that made me kind of like, you know what I mean? Like
right.
Just kind of like snap and go into like really like 4 or 5 day long anxiety attack. So yeah, I just, it was crazy. And I woke up and I was like, we sat in the hospital. I mean, we didn't get home till like 2:30 in the morning.
Jeez.
And just like, I knew I was sitting there, and this is stupid, but I was sitting there in the ER and I'm like, this is stupid. Like, I know I'm okay. But then like, there's always that one part of you, it's like, well, what if you're not okay?
Yeah.
Like, what if there is something wrong? And I think that's where I tend to overreact and think something is worse than it really is. What do they call that? It's not overdramatic, but it's paranoid. I'm paranoid.
Like paranoia?
Yeah, I can get really paranoid about things, and I'm like, man, and you know this. It's like I kind of tend to get panicked about things, and I get worked. I get worked up about things that like my back hurts, and I'm like, oh god, something's wrong with me. Like, even though it's probably just this pulled muscle.
Right.
And so, yeah, dude, it's not fun. Anxiety is not fun. And so I'm still working through it. I'm going to try a few different things before I go on medication, because I don't really want to do medication if I don't have to. Like the doctors have said that like they may put you on like a minor ADHD medication just to kind of calm you down a little bit. But I wanted to try melatonin for bed just to kind of like soothe my, like, just stop everything from like all the time.
Are you having trouble sleeping?
No, it's not sleeping. It's like getting short of breath when I have time to think about stuff. When my mind starts my mind is always racing.
Right.
So if I'm busy and I'm doing something like this, like right now, I'm fine because I'm not, well, not at the moment because I'm talking about it, but doing this show, like right now, filming, I'm fine because it's not like in my forefront. You know what I mean? Like it's in my peripheral. I'm not thinking directly about the problems or about oh wow, I'm really short of breath right now. Like I don't have time to think about that.
Sure.
So I kind of just like go into this when I have time to be alone and I have time to sit and stew. My mind races, and then I start noticing that I'm getting short of breath, and then I start noticing that I'm kind of dizzy and lightheaded, which is from being short of breath and hyperventilating.
Yeah.
And so it's super scary. And the thing about anxiety, at least in my situation. See, I'm getting nervous. I'm getting anxious just sitting here talking about it. The thing about like anxiety is that my symptoms mask as like heart conditions. I get like my hands get clammy and I get short of breath and my chest starts to get tight and my shoulder blade starts to hurt, and it's just like all of these things that like would symptomize like it would be a heart attack or a heart condition.
Sure.
And it's not related to my heart at all. I've been checked. The doctors say my heart's 100% fine. My lungs are absolutely clean. And it's just crazy but it's super scary.
Yeah.
For those of you that have never been on the other side of it, it's super scary. And the biggest advice that I have to people is that, especially for those of you that are dealing with someone who has severe anxiety, you got to just be understanding. They don't want you to fix their problem, and they don't want you to acknowledge that they have a problem. They just want you to be there for them and be empathetic and be like, hey, like what can I do? What can I help you with? And sometimes it's just leave me alone and let me figure it out. And sometimes they just want to be touched or held or hugged, and that makes the whole world a difference.
So with that, and yes, I've dealt with my anxiety and everything like that in the past. One thing that I found out very quickly, and it's funny that we're bringing this up because when I did have that high anxiety, and most of the time it was anytime that I went in and take an exam, or I'm prepping for some kind of project that I need to do, or whatever it may be, like a presentation, going in for an interview, stuff like that is where I get my anxiety a lot of times. It used to be me asking a girl out.
Really?
I would break out in hives, like
whoa,
places I've just like you wouldn't be able to see it,
right?
But anywhere that is covered up, I would start breaking out, and I didn't realize that for quite a while. I mean, I knew I had I'd get like the sweats and
normal stuff.
Yeah, hands clammy, that kind of stuff, but. One thing I figured out very quickly, and I watched some YouTube on this, and there was a doctor, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was talking about how he's a doctor that studies the brain and everything like that, and they did the study with two different subjects, right? Both high anxiety. But what they did was they gave one person the medication, the other person a sugar pill.
A placebo.
Yeah. So they would do tests like that all the time, and every single time the person that had the medication never got better, but the person that did, or the person that had the sugar pill, always got better.
Because it's a placebo. It's trying to convince the person that it's saying, hey, I'm giving you this thing, so their brain is telling them that they're getting better.
Yeah. So in the meantime, though, what they figured out was most of the stuff that gives us this anxiety is in our head. I mean, it's one of those things. It's more of like they talk about all the time how it is your self-talk. However, because literally, if we switch right now and I would talk to you the way you talk to yourself, I would be out of here right now. I'd probably be in jail. You know, like that's because it's like verbal abuse at that point.
Yeah.
Right? If you talk to me the way I talk to myself, I'd be kicking your ass right now.
Yeah, 'cause
like, let's be honest.
It's very much like in your own head.
Yeah, and you're very hard on yourself. You're always going to be your worst critic.
Absolutely.
But if you do,
especially when with this, us doing this show, he doesn't even watch the episodes every time because he's his own worst critic.
I can't do it.
He'll watch an episode and he'll constantly like degrade himself. And me too. I'm guilty of it too. Like we always think we can do better than we do.
Yep, and that's where it comes into. Once I started doing, so once I started my mornings out right, you know, like everyone's got their own
routine,
revenues and everything like that. You know, I do a medication every morning. Meditation.
I do a medication every morning.
But no, so I would meditate every morning just to focus on myself, right? I would do certain things in the morning to get my head right before I go out into the world. Because once you go out into the world, that's where you're going to get pounded with negativity. You need to fill yourself up with positivity before you go out every single day. Because once you go out there, it's pretty much, I don't care if you're spiritual or you believe in God, you don't believe in God. No matter what, you need to put armor on yourself.
Get your mind right.
Yeah, get your mind right.
Get your mind right.
It's basically putting body armor on you before you go out into battle every day. Because whether you like it or not, or you know it or not, you are going into a battle every single day.
Oh yeah, people are mean, man. So,
every single day.
But what I guess the biggest thing would be is like, don't be afraid to take medication if that's what needs to be done. You know, talk to your doctor. Your doctor's going to have your best interest at heart. Talk to your doctor. If your doctor doesn't think you need medication, they're not going to prescribe you medication. You know, a lot of doctors will actually try to go holistic first. They'll try to, like, they'll send you to a therapist, or they'll, I've heard some doctors tell you to go get CBD oil.
Yeah.
Just because, like, it's a calming drug, but it's not like it's not going to get you high. It's just going to calm your brain down.
Yeah. But to go along with that, there is nothing wrong with going to a therapist, whether you think there's something wrong or not.
Sometimes it's just good to talk.
I go to a therapist all the time. I go to therapy all the time.
Yeah, and it's such a taboo thing to talk about too, which is kind of why we're talking about it. But it's like it's very much a taboo subject. Like people admit that they go to therapy. It's like that. It shouldn't be.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah, you shouldn't be like scared to talk about how you go to therapy.
Definitely not.
But that kind of wraps up the episode, guys. Today's random sponsor, it was going to be soda. But today's random sponsor is going to be asking for help. So I know that a lot of you that are watching, this is very serious, okay? I know, like, Blake and I joke around all the time, and I know we're absolute idiots on this camera, and we do this show to make you guys laugh.
Yep.
This episode is very, very serious. We didn't plug anything. We're not going to plug anything. The only thing we're going to plug is that you ask for help if you need it. There's tons of websites. There's tons of phone numbers. If you're depressed, if you have anxiety, if you have thoughts of suicide. Suicide is the ultimate, like, problem. And I always tell people, and I heard this from, I forget where I heard it from, but suicide is a permanent fix to temporary problems. So regardless of whether it's anxiety, depression, eating disorders, thoughts of suicide, whatever the issue is, ask for help. Do not be afraid to ask for help. Whether it's from your family or your friends or consulting a doctor, just ask. Okay. So if you guys do want to seek treatment or seek help, the one that I've been told about was the National Helpline. If you guys do want to give that a call, they're open 24/7, 365 days a year for families or individuals facing mental or substance use disorders. The number is down on the screen below. It's also in the link, or it's also in the description, but the number is 1-800-662-4357. Like I said, guys, it's really important to get help. Really is. I thought that I could beat it, and I couldn't, and so I have to take the proper steps. And I'm not ashamed to admit that I want to face this and I want to get better. And I think that goes for everybody. So once again, 1-800-662-4357. With that being said, guys, we love you all, and we will see you Friday on the podcast.